Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Eva and today I'm going to talk about the topic of intuition. It's a very, very important topic for so many people, and yeah, of course people want to live through their intuition because coming from or living through your intuition is basically living from your highest truth and from your beingness. This is how I would describe it. Also a description would be living from like the heart or from the gut. This is also how it's described, so it's the same thing. I just describe it, live it from the beingness, from your highest truth, because the beingness knows what's good for you in the present moment. It guides you, and if you have access to that, I mean, that's amazing, right? So we're gonna look into this a bit more, and then also why there is no access at certain times. So I feel like I didn't have access to my intuition for most of the time of my life. It was just so much going on in my system, so many thoughts, then so many energies were triggered all the time, stuck energies, that you don't know what's right, what's wrong, what should I do, what kind of decision should I make, and stuff like that. So it was just a lot of confusion, a lot of things were happening in my system. And to hear the intuition, of course, is better if the system is already quite down. So that means a lot of the stuck energies, the trauma and all of that, all the human stuff, I just call it the human stuff, needs to be cleared out, because then when the system is empty and when there is this silence there, the only thing that pops up is the intuition. So there is nothing else really except for the mind. But then, of course, after some time, you learn to distinguish what's the mind and what's actually intuition. So basically, what is the intuition? It's the first impulse that rises when something comes up. So let's say a decision comes up. The first impulse that rises is the intuition. And when we are in a flow state, so people have experienced that before. I'm sure you have too. You go through your day, the day seems effortless, everything is just unfolding, you feel actually elevated, you feel good, you feel well in your body. So things are just unfolding. And this is when the intuition is working or is there for you, you have access, and it's even before you have to make a decision. So before you feel like, oh, there is two options and I have to make a decision. So even before that, this is when the intuition is just unfolding for you. You have access to that all the time, and you don't need to think about certain things, or there is no, oh, stop, energy is triggered in my system, this doesn't feel good, or this feels good, energies get triggered. And then you kind of start thinking about it, or start like, you stop, and then you interfered with, like your flow is interfered with. So intuition comes up even before, it's a constant unfolding, right? So what happens when we are interfered with? So what is interfering? It's the mind. So the mind has a lot of ideas, scenarios, so you have, let's stick with the two choices, is the best way to describe it. So we have two options, and then the mind comes up. So we don't hear our intuition because there's so much going on. The mind comes up, okay, we want to make the smartest decision for us. Yeah. The mind has a lot of scenarios, a lot of pros and cons. So it will tell you why you should take option B or why you should take option A. So it's just, and there's a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the mind can never know what's good for you, because it's concepts, it's just mental concepts. It's either things you have experienced, and it's only the memory of an experience. And it doesn't mean that, just because you chose an option in the past, that it's going to unfold in the exact same way again. It doesn't mean like that at all. But the mind will tell you, oh yeah, don't do this because in the past this wasn't a good option. Or concepts, people shared their experiences with you, or you read something somewhere why this option is better as the other, and so on. So this is just when the mind steps in. And of course, because through all our lifetimes, we trained the mind the most, right? So from school on, we're taught that the mind is our most important part of our system, and the mind knows everything and can figure out everything, and everything can be figured out through the mind, and life can be figured out through the mind, which is like totally not true. It's like total opposite. The mind is only in the way. Of course, we can use the mind for certain things, for reading, for planning, for writing, for learning certain things, and then, replicating them. But its usage is, let's say, it's a lot less than we think. So from my experience, when I look at the system and the truth that's coming from the system and the mind, where the place or the space of the mind is like 5% or something. So it's very, very small. So we basically don't really need the mind a lot. It's just a tool like hands or other things we use. So but it's not us, of course, and it can't make any decisions for us. Okay, so basically the mind can be in the way. Then also the energies in the system. So if there are a lot of energies going on all the time, meaning we have a lot of stuck energies, there's still like healing work to do, clearing work to do, still trauma in the system, childhood influences, past life influences, and all of that. There's just a lot of energies are interfering all day long. So you do this, energies get triggered, you do this, so fear gets triggered. So most emotions are getting triggered, right? So you have stuck emotions in the system, fear, resistance, you name it, those emotions that are in the way, limiting emotions. So they are being triggered, and they also influence decisions. So the clearer the system is, and the more we distinguish how much impact the mind has and what the mind actually is, the less our intuition can get interfered with. Because then we start hearing it. So when the system is quiet, so this is the optimum, right? The system is totally quiet. There's no interference with any energies. Then the intuition pops up and you just know, okay, that's the intuition because there's nothing else that's popping up. That's the only thing that's happening. And then you just follow that. And the intuition always unfolds in exactly the moment when it needs to come up. So it's not going to come up, let's say, 10 minutes before a situation. It's coming up exactly at that time when it's needed. So this is living in the present moment. And I'm going to do another video about that because it's such an important part of our life experience. And there are a lot of misunderstandings around this. So it just comes up, we know exactly in that moment what to do, and it could be something totally different from what came up yesterday or what will come up tomorrow if we like still consider time, right? So it's first of all, it's very individual, and it's also very individual based on an everyday basis, what is coming up and what not, and how you would decide things. So it doesn't mean just you made a decision once in a certain way that you have to make it over and over again for forever. It changes every day because we change every day. We're different every day. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. And then how I can help you to access your intuition more. So I didn't have access. There was just so much going on, and I just experienced then over, working on my system, that I started to have access. And this is gold. This is like the answer or one of the answers to everything, to a lot, to have a nicer life experience and be aligned with your life experience, because you get exactly the information you need in this moment, and that's it. Nothing else is needed. Okay. So I will share now two ways you can, or two exercises you can do to have access to your intuition when you feel like you don't have that all the time, or you don't have it at all. So one possibility would be just sit down in a meditation, just a few minutes, like 5-10 minutes is enough. You just sit down, and then, that's how I did it. It worked, so that's why I share it. I have worked with Mother Mirror or Divine Mother. You can also choose like God, or you can choose your higher self. So it doesn't really matter. Or the universe. So you choose just somebody you feel connected to, or something, or an energy, and then you ask for clearing your system and filling it up with your personal highest truth. So just basically it just helps to get things out of the way that are in the way at the moment, and behind that is your personal highest truth anyways, right? So things get cleared, so you sit down You just ask, close your eyes, and you just ask, let's stick with the Divine Mother. Ask the Divine Mother for fully clearing your system, so bringing the light. You can either visualize the light coming in through the crown, or you feel it happening anyways, because it's happening. If you don't see it, you can just put your attention on it, that it's happening, but it's happening anyways. Again, so you just let the energy come in, light of the Divine Mother through the top of your head, let it fill up your system and let it clear your system, that it calms down, and you will feel relaxation. And if you feel there is like still stuff going on, just give it away, give it to the Divine Mother. This will take just a few minutes, and if you practice it more often, it gets a lot quicker. It takes like seconds. System is fully clear, and let's say you have a decision to make. So you ask, is decision A or B better for you in the present moment? The best possible decision you can make in the present moment. And then the information will just come up, and it will be so obvious, and you're like, oh my God. Yeah, but don't let the mind interfere, because the mind then, it will right away, can take only seconds when the mind comes in, but consider the other decision and so on. So no, the mind has no say in that. We are starting to learn to have access to the intuition, or to feel how it unfolds, how it shows itself to us. So we know, and then we just make that decision, and we can never know the outcome. So we can never know the outcome. The decision that we're supposed to make from our beingness level are the best possible one, but we can never know the outcome. So just know that, because then it's a lot easier. Yeah. And then this would be one option. And the second option is, it's quite an interesting one, but it also worked, or I used to use it quite some time. When I was back at university, no access to intuition. It was just so much going on, so much like low vibration energies, and I had to make decisions, and I was just like stuck, too much going on, couldn't do it. So I took a coin. So you just take any coin. Okay, I don't have one here now, but you just take a coin. You decide option A is the number, and option B is like I don't know what's on the coin. And then you flip the coin. You could flip a coin, and whatever comes up. And if, let's say, decision A comes up, and you're like, oh, I wish it was decision B, then decision B is the right one, and other way around. So basically, you again use the first impulse that comes up. Oh, I wish it would have been the other one, or I'm glad it was that came up. And then you just use, you just know, okay, it's this one. So it's really always about the first impulse, and the rest would be just interference of the mind and the system, because energies are triggered. So yeah, so basically intuition happens before. And again, if you connect over and over again, you start to your intuition, you start understanding how it works, and then it will be a lot easier in your just everyday life as well. You are in a flow, but if the flow is interfered with in certain ways, this can happen. Then you have a decision to make, you have two options, and then you're just a lot quicker in figuring out what's actually your intuition, what's your mind, and what's energies being triggered in the system. And then it's very simple. So in the end, again, like I always say, it's really, really simple. We just need to know how to use it and how our system works. And this is what I'm also I'm try to share here, so that because then in the end it's also simple. And life living from your intuition, so from your highest truth, from the beingness, this is when it gets really interesting, because it brings you towards exactly where you need to go. You meet the right people, you're somewhere at the right time, exactly when things need to unfold, then they are always effortless. So when we force things, when we think, oh, we need to do this or that, or we need to whatever, reach a certain level of consciousness, I don't know, grow a business, have a family, whatever it is, what you feel like you need to have in this right now, and you want to force it, then there are blockages in the way. You block basically your life just of unfolding in a natural way. And this is where we want to, like, this is what we learn, but we kind of want to go away from that, surrender to what's happening in the present moment, and also then, because of that, have access to our intuition, and we can make the best possible decision for us, which are for our highest good in the present moment. And then just see whatever comes out of that. And you will see it's always the best, like the best possibility. So either you were able to think about it, or you couldn't even imagine it, you know, because the outcome was so good. Okay, great. So that's the little video here. Let me know if you have any further questions. Yeah, let me know how you liked it, and if there are any certain topics you're interested in and you want me to talk about also, please let me know. So thank you so much for watching, and see you for the next video. Bye bye.